put a few props on the table. Over here is, in front of Marc, is a bone of a creature which obviously had osteoporosis. It is the vertebrae of a mastodon found in the Brazos River near the town of Sealy, Texas. In the center, near Bernard, are two items. One is an actual ammonite from about 66 million years ago. And next to it is a reproduction of the 10-tentacled creature that it represents. And then over in front of Briseda is something that I found on the property that Bart and I share, and it is Lunatia praetoris grandis, a snail. And the fleshy part is the part that is sort of disfigured there, and the rest of it is an inside mold of the shell. The shell is actually gone now. 10,000 to 15,000 years ago, 66 million years ago, 100 to 110 million years. And if these are difficult to grasp, it's much more difficult to understand the age of the Earth, 4.7 billion years. I'm going to try to put that in some perspective for you this evening. And I'm going to ask a question first, a show of hands. Who thinks that humans first appeared here? Show of hands. No. Can't be tricked, eh? We've got January through June and July through December down here. How about on her birth month? What month is that? August. Is that where humans appeared?
Good-looking humans.
Okay. How about November? Would you say human? No. You're a smart group. We have to represent 365 days, representing the concept of 4.7 billion years. On January the 1st, Earth first forms into a solid. It's still very hot in temperature. It is very hot in radioactivity, having been, by most astrophysical accounts, been spun off the sun. And it is sometime in February before it spins itself off a moon, which brings great stability and rotational steadiness to the planet, something it didn't have in its wobble before then. Meteors are still falling daily on February the 17th. And it isn't until March that we begin to have, around the 20th, a appearance of oceans and water on the planet. And those too come from meteors. On all meteors, they find water in a solid form, ice, and enough meteors and enough ice, and you can create an ocean. Scientists cannot think of where else it might have come from. But with the arrival of oceans comes single-cell organisms for the first time. And a new science, paleobiology. And it is the combination of sciences, of course, that gives us this perspective about the age of Earth and its various epochs and periods. But it takes all the way to the 22nd of June before oxygen appears. Intrinsic to a stromatolite is a process of the creation of oxygen. It's a byproduct of its digestion, but we couldn't be on the planet without it. And we have the beginnings of paleobotany. But it takes all the way until November the 17th before multi-celled organisms first appear. And 88% of the Earth's history is already past. We have corals, sponges, and worms in the sea. But it takes until the 28th of the month before we begin to have terrestrial vegetation. Plants, spores, fungus, some primitive fishes in the ocean, trees starting out at about 8 feet and then towards the end of the period maybe 20 feet tall, ferns, and we have paleontology as a beginning science. And all of it is destroyed by December the 13th in the Permian extinction. The Permian Basin out in West Texas is, in fact, reflective of that particular period. All that oil came from all the plants and animals that were destroyed during that period. And there is not a clear consensus among scientists as to why it happened. It may have been anoxia, a buildup of too much smothering bacteria in the waters. It might have been another meteor. But in any case, 96% of all the marine animals and 70% of all terrestrial vegetation is destroyed. And we have, at that time, dragonflies with 3-foot wingspans, and they all disappeared during that period. It isn't until the 21st of December that dinosaurs finally appear, everything from allosaurs to velociraptors. Did you know that we have in Austin a statue, full scale, of a velociraptor? It's in the dinosaur park, which is part of Zilker Gardens. It's interesting to see, and you can tell from a distance. It's on a little island. You wouldn't have 2 minutes. It's going to get you. At that time, we have conifers in our forests, that is, trees with pine cones. And in fact, at that garden, you will see cycads, single palms. You'll see conifers, and you'll see cedar, or what we call it cedar. It's juniper. You'll see that in the garden because they were representative at that time. But on the 27th of December, guess what? In 6 days, the dinosaurs are gone. Again, the theory is often extrapolated that it had to do with a meteor. And what survives? The avian dinosaurs, we call birds. We have flowers, cycads, conifers, and small mammals from whom we are undoubtedly descended. It takes until December the 21st for things to begin to occur that we might think of as our time. Glaciers begin to recede at 8:45 in the evening. North America, North Europe are available for creatures to explore. And it doesn't happen until 907 that they found Lucy, who's a million years old and the first known member of the Homo species. But Homo sapien doesn't appear until 11:45 in the evening, 200,000 years ago. And Bart asked me this question last night, and I gave him the wrong answer. I calculated today. When did the Roman Empire occur? 1.5 seconds ago. I hope this gives you some perspective on 1.5 billion years and our place in Earth. We don't have to make a mess of it, and I hope that we can do better than the dinosaurs, at least 6 days. Mr. Toastmasters.